Hey, it's your host Sauce from the Viral Kingdom, and in today's video I'm going to be going over the 7 best dedicated hosting services for Palworld. Now I have some decent experience testing out a few different dedicated hosts between the games Minecraft and Palworld, and these are the 7 best I've found based on things like price, reliability, and accessibility, because I do think that is really important, having a hosting service that's really easy to set up. And yeah, we'll get started with this video, but before we do, if you guys could go down and leave a like on this one and subscribe to the channel if you like Palworld content, as I plan on posting more Palworld videos later on in the future. Now the first on our list is going to be Game Team, and something important to note is that I'll have the links to every single server in the description, and if you use some of those links you might be able to get like a 10%, 15% discount depending on the server. So I definitely suggest using them, but let's talk about Game Team, which is probably my favorite hosting service just because I found Game Team to be so reliable. And if you ask a lot of other people within the community that use dedicated hosts, Game Team is going to be a company that comes up a lot, and that's just because of the amount of games that they actually support. It's ridiculous. If you just go on their website, you can just look through. They support so many games, and obviously their newest is Palworld, but what I used a Game Team for was actually Minecraft, and it worked amazingly. If you're brand new to setting up a dedicated server, or you've never really looked into dedicated servers before, I really suggest Game Team, especially for beginners, as they make it so easy to set up your own server. I'd argue all of the different services I'm going to show off in today's video make it pretty easy, but Game Team goes above and beyond. I just find the UI and everything is fantastic. They also have their very own Reddit community where you can go ahead and ask questions, and they have support. So if you have any issues with your server or just setting things up, you can message their support team and get an instant answer. What's really great about Game Team too is no matter where you are located within the world, you can see they have data centers across 20 different places in North America, Europe, and Asia. Game Team also makes adding things like mods so easy with literally one click, which you just don't see with other hosting services. And I think that's just the overall theme of Game Team. Everything is so easy to set up, especially when it comes to a Palworld server. And they even have all these tutorials on their website that will just make things even easier. All right, the next one on our list is going to be ShockByte. And the reason I really like ShockByte, I think, is just because of the price point. I think ShockByte is the best bang for your buck service. Their prices are pretty cheap, especially comparing to other competitors in the space, and I would say their service is quite reliable. It's definitely not as easy to set up things as Game Team, however, it is still pretty easy. It's a dedicated server at the end of the day, and they do have support features where you can message their team to get help, which I think is really important when it comes to dedicated servers, because especially with a new game like Palworld, it's constantly going to be updated, especially right now. So there's going to be a lot of changes with these dedicated servers moving forward. It's important for these companies to be up to date on that, ensuring their clients get the best service possible. Now, ShockByte's been around for a long time, actually in 2013, so well over a decade, and I've known them just through dedicated Minecraft servers, but now they're going into Palworld just like every single one of these services. So yes, ShockByte is definitely up there in the dedicated server hosting services. However, I will say I heard some people were having some issues with ShockByte just because of how many people are trying to get their very own dedicated server of Palworld. It's like exploding right now, so that is something to keep in mind, that things may be taking a little bit longer to activate than usual, and this could be just like a day or two more, so really not that much longer, but that is something important to keep note of. Now the next on our list is going to be Apex Hosting, and the reason I like Apex Hosting is, one, because this is a long-standing dedicated server hoster. They're huge in Minecraft hosting, and they've announced they're doing Palworld hosting as well. So you love to see that. But what's really great about Apex hosting is just all of the different mod packs that can be added to the dedicated servers. I think it's more than any other dedicated server hosting list, and it makes it so easy. Like, I feel like Apex hosting is the dedicated hoster that's best with one-click mod packs that are just so easy to install. What's great about Apex hosting is they have some fantastic 24/7 support. So if you ever have issues with your server, you can get instant support, and they have a 7-day money-back guarantee. So let's say you're just not happy with the Palworld dedicated host, which I highly doubt you would be with Apex hosting, you can just get your money back. These servers on Apex hosting are so reliable, and overall it's just a decent hosting service. However, I haven't tested any dedicated hosting on Palworld with Apex hosting, but I'd assume it carries over the same as it does in Minecraft, and it's just as good. Now, the next on our list is GG servers. I like GG servers for the same reasons kind of as Game Team, and that's just that the UI is super nice and it makes hosting really easy. Additionally, the prices are pretty cheap, although not as cheap as Game Team. I think they run a little more expensive depending on the amount of player slots that you want. But overall, it has a really high quality UI with some really good dedicated servers that almost never go down. And they also have 24/7 support. They also have one-click mod installers, which are fantastic. And another thing that's fantastic is the next option on our list, which is actually Hostinger. Now, I have personally never used Hostinger for Minecraft dedicated services or Palworld dedicated services. However, I can say I use Hostinger for all of my websites, and their support is top notch, especially for the amount that you're paying. If you use the link in the description, I mean, this applies to pretty much every single service, you will get a discount. And I will say that Hostinger is 100% one of the cheapest options here. However, I unfortunately can't say much else as I've never used a Hostinger service for Palworld or Minecraft, but I've heard very many good things. I think the common complaint with Hostinger is that it's a little bit more difficult to set up, and they don't have as many mod pack installers like when you look at other server hosters, but they still do have some options. Now, the next on our list is Host Havoc. Host Havoc is a decent hosting service. I find Minecraft's a bit better than Palworld. As you can see, just from the price differences, they are upcharging on Palworld a ton, and I just think that's because of how many people are currently trying to get a dedicated server. Like, these companies are getting pounded on with new people trying to get their own servers, and because of this, they're actually hiking up the prices a bit, which is unfortunate, and we are seeing that in the case of Host Havoc, but it doesn't mean that Host Havoc still isn't a decent hosting service. They have super high CPUs and ultra fast SSDs, so they're going to give you a really reliable dedicated server, and they also have 24/7 support, which is also fantastic and a common theme across all of these dedicated server hosters. Now, the last dedicated server hoster is going to be Nodecraft, which is probably one of the most popular dedicated server hosters on Minecraft, and I assume that trend is going to carry over into Palworld. Now, I don't have any experience using Nodecraft on Palworld. I do on Minecraft, and I think it works fantastically. Dare I say, it's one of the best dedicated server hosters. However, I can't give a 100% review of it just because I haven't used it with Palworld, but I assume all of the other things that apply to their Minecraft dedicated server hosting carries over to Palworld. Now, some of the really awesome features is that there are no player slot limits, and they have a lot of the other features that the previous dedicated server hosters we've talked about have, like the one-click mod installers, free subdomains, but I really think that unlimited player slots is pretty unique, as a lot of the other options have a limited amount of player slots. Now, you are going to be paying slightly more maybe than other options, options, but you are paying for high quality service. So if you want a server with maybe a bit more people than just your friends, maybe Nodecraft is the option for you. I'd look at Nodecraft as a much more premium option for dedicated server hosting. But if your only plan is to just hang out with 2, 3, 4, 5 friends, I'd recommend sticking with an option like Game Team, which is just a lot cheaper and still provides that reliability that you want in a dedicated server hoster. So it's been Sauce from the Viral Kingdom, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video going over my 7 favorite dedicated server hosters in Palworld. And if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments section and I'll be sure to answer them. I'll see you guys in the next video.